live coverage of Expo North as it happens. This is Expo North Live.
Joining me now is a documentary filmmaker from the Highlands and a film tutor with the BFI Highlands. Thanks for joining me, Tristan Aitchison. And alongside him is one of his students, Becca Fiddus, who has been working as a mixing, on the sound mixing for the short film Absence. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Okay. Now, the first thing I'd like to ask you, Tristan, if that's okay, is what first interested you in film, and do you have any tips for young filmmakers?
Well, I changed career when I was 29, 30, so I was kind of late coming into it. So basically, I like telling stories. That's what I enjoy. So I first started off in screenwriting, and then I moved and I did a dramatic short, and then I've kind of through circumstance moved into documentary. I think advice to young filmmakers is just to do it. There's no excuse not to do it now. You know, the barriers of filmmaking have all come down with digital technology. You can make things very lo-fi on your phone. You don't need big expensive sound equipment, so it's do it yourself or grab a friend and do it with them. There's no excuse not to do it.
Thank you. And Becca, is Tristan a good teacher? What have you learned through the BFI programme?
Well, Tristan and Neil were both amazing teachers, and it was a brilliant experience overall. I learned a lot about the actual sort of technical use of the machinery and everything like that, and the editing software as well was really big, and just the sort of terms that you use when you're on set and everything like that was very interesting. And just learning everything, like every single role that you do in film. And I remember doing like all these little sort of, we had these bits of paper with all the sort of jobs written down on them and having to sort them out into sort of which ones are prioritied. And it's great fun, and it's just a great way of learning.
Fantastic. And you've got a recent documentary, that's correct, Sydney and Friends. It's been quite a big hit in South America, I believe. What do you think was the appeal there?
Sydney Friends hasn't been released yet, so we're working on that. That will be it's come out in November. So the film that you're referring to is Care, who I worked with XpoNorth and Amanda Millen at Screen High. Yeah, it was kind of strange. It's a film about elderly abuse, kind of set with horror tropes. We broke into an abandoned nursing home and filmed it guerrilla style. So yeah, they loved it in Latin and South America, and was a big hit at festivals there, and was shown on Puerto Rican TV and things like that. Yeah, so the other film, Sydney and Friends, you're referring to, is a feature-length documentary about the trans and intersex community of Nairobi in Kenya.
And that must have been quite difficult to shoot within East Africa, because it's a pretty homophobic country as far as I'm aware, or there's elements of that.
Yeah, so the gender minorities there, they live in, you know, the stories that my contributors tell are pretty horrific. Filming was really, really difficult because it's a taboo subject. We couldn't film in public. A lot of my contributors have been ostracized from their families and friends. So it was pretty, where we could shoot was pretty limited. I'd have to take them into kind of forests and shoot their interviews there. Yeah, it was tough. It kind of revolves around a guy called Sydney, who was born intersex in rural Kenya, and as he grew up, he was different from everyone else, and his family believed he had a curse, that he was possessed by demons and the devil, and they eventually tried to kill him. So he managed to flee, and he fled to Nairobi, where he met other people from the trans and intersex community, and then we kind of start to look into issues that gender minorities face growing up in a developing country.
And what interests you in a particular subject matter? Where do you find your inspiration for documentaries?
This is my first documentary. I hadn't done documentary before. It kind of found me, and I kind of found them. I kind of stumbled upon it. Other filmmakers had approached these people before, and they rejected it, but they liked me and I liked them. And I spent some time with them, and over a month, 2 months, I kind of built up a camaraderie, and then I kind of brought out the camera and we shot. But it was very, very difficult to shoot. just because some of them from very poor backgrounds, living in slums. We only had very limited access to where they lived because obviously coming as a filmmaker you draw attention to them. I think they actually moved on where they lived just after we shot because they were outed, not because of us but because of other things that happened. So yeah, it was very tough. But it's the human story that interests me. I was qualified as a social worker before, so it's kind of the social issues that really interest me.
We've got to finish up there, but just before we do, I'm wondering, Becca, what's next for you?
Well, at the moment I'm just trying to get as much experience as possible. I want to continue doing sound engineering and sort of sound mixing for films. So I'm just working towards that, trying to get as many qualifications as I can and trying to get as much experience as possible. And yeah, it's going well so far, so we're just hoping it keeps.
Well, good luck with that, and thank you both for joining me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
You